Ba-da-da-da-da. I fucking Project Anime 49.
Yes.
3 episodes away from you could watch one a week and it'd take you a year.
Yes.
Even though we're older than a year.
Yes.
Y'all remember the Inspector review we never put out?
I do. It's still on my computer.
Remember shit that we hate? That's today's theme for this episode. It's shit we hate in anime. Because it's the weekly special and we really didn't want to watch a movie.
I recommended a movie.
You recommended a movie, but I want to talk about shit I fucking hate anime. Number one thing I hate in anime. Battle Game in 5 seconds. Fuck.
No, that's an anime you hate. That's not something you hate in anime.
You know what I hate?
Oh no, it really grinds my gears.
Insert meme. No, what I really fucking hate is the unnecessary over-sexualization of like a perfectly good anime. You know, like you can have like what's a good example? Tengen Toppa, Gurren Lagann. Great show. Great whatever. But any chance to get, it's like, yo, you know Yoko? Boom. Boobs. It's like, okay, I get the show. We don't have to shove this in my face every 5 seconds. You know what I mean?
But if it was real and you wanted to.
I mean, that's true. You could. No, but you know what I mean? You just get
Turns out that's a child.
Dude, that's the other thing at Gurren Lagann. Everyone's like 15 years old. Because we have that same thing in fucking Tokyo Revengers. Everyone's like 14 years old and everyone forgets it. Including that scene when Takamichi's about to fucking get some with that gal. It's like, that literally added nothing to this story. You know what I mean? There's like certain things in anime that they add. And that's what's a good movie and a good series have is everything you show at some point should have some payoff or some extra development to a show. Mm-hmm. And as much as we love our beach scenes, because, you know, a lot of animes, there's a lot of fan service and stuff similar to that. There's still, at the end of the day, should be a reason this is happening, whether or not it's just to give you, a break from the normal stuff. It still should have something that adds to it on there. Mm-hmm. But that's my biggest thing is over sexualization in anime. They're like for good series. You know what I mean? Like, we know why you watch High School DxD. You don't have to justify High School DxD. We know why you watch High School of the Dead. It's not for the zombies. We know it's not for the zombies. And if it is, you're watching the wrong show. You should watch Is This a Zombie? Have you seen that?
No.
It's a guy that goes to fight. You'll have to watch it. I won't spoil it. Because the first episode, whatever I say, is going to spoil it on there.
I just don't like shows that, like, try to be smart and, like...
Fail.
Tried to be smart, but explain everything in the process.
Ikebukuro Westgate Park?
That was trying to be something that it wasn't, but that's a similar kind of, like, thing where it's like, yo, like, come on. Like, especially in that case, like, everything was just thrown in Mikoto's lap.
Yeah.
Like,
it was too easy.
Yeah. Like, at no point did he do anything creative.
Do you hate shows that over-explain things, or you just hate shows that try to be smart and just fail?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, because they have the similar problem where over-explaining it just makes, like, you feel like they don't trust the audience. And then ones
they treat you like you're dumb.
Mm-hmm. And ones that are like, oh, like, even the characters where it's like, oh, look at how smart I am. And it's like, no, that's just, like, plot convenience. A battle game is kind of like that, where it's like, oh, the main character is always so far ahead. And Talentless Nana had it to a certain degree where it's like, okay, like, Nana's, like, not this fucking smart. And even in her case, a lot of things also just, like, went her way.
Yeah. Well, it's not like even a recent series or an old series like Death Note. Mm-hmm. It's very good at, they explain it kind of passively. Mm-hmm. So they don't treat you like an idiot. And then they explain it in a way that's pretty easy to understand, and you still have to think a little bit so you don't feel dumb when you figure it out. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of like an older... have you ever seen a TV series, the anime series Macross?
No.
Are you familiar with it?
Not really.
It's basically a giant mech show. But a lot of the fights,
I just never had the chance to.
A lot of the fights include singing, which old Macross is better because there's less of that. But newer Macross is, hey, we're fighting, and we can win if we sing together. That's kind of the plot. Super well animated fights, but the singing's annoying. But they do that shit where it's like, wow, what's happening? And then they turn to like second in command, and then he goes into like a 5-minute monologue about this and this and this. It's like, okay, you're not explaining all this in like 5 seconds. Because even Attack on Titan's guilty of that. Arguably one of the better series out there right now. Of we're having a meeting, we're about to get in a fight, and then we have like a 10-minute flashback, or even like this episode ends, next episode is a flashback, and then the episode after that you come back to it and it's like
too many flashbacks.
Yeah. That's another big
My
thing.
Hero kind of ran into that early, where it's like, how many times you got to watch Deku be like an upset little kid?
Bitch. Yeah. Well, same thing. That's another thing I hate. If you're going to have a flashback, you need to make it short and sweet, or if you're going to make it a little bit longer, set the situation for you could have this long drug out conversation or this long memory. But there's plenty of times where, oh yeah, you know, you have me pinned on the ground, you're about to arrest me, and then they have like a 10-minute flashback. Like, what was that, the end of last season of My Hero with Gentle Villain? Or whatever his name was? When he's pinned
Gentle
on the...
Criminal.
Yeah, that's what it was. He has like a couple-minute flashback. And you wouldn't have that much of a flashback because Deku's still talking. And it should have been like 30 seconds and done. Like, there's just too many villains that do that. Like, there wouldn't be fights where you have like a 10-minute speech before you fight. What you should do is drag out a fight as they're talking. Because Attack on Titan played very well. Like I said, I just bitched about them this last season for doing that. But at the same time, there's a scene where Aaron's in Titan form, and someone else is in the middle of transforming. And almost every other time someone's transformed into a Titan, you're just supposed to stand there and watch. It's this slow, big buildup, and it's cool. But Aaron just fucking punches this Titan in the middle of transforming. That's what you should do. Don't give him a chance to transform. Because there's a lot of shows like that, too. Like Sailor Moon, I guess is the most popular one everyone know. It's a little bit different, but when you have a 10-minute transformation scene, or, you know, like a 30-second transformation scene, the first time, okay. After that, make it a quick transformation thing, because it would be a quick transformation. Because if you're going to transform for 2 minutes, the villain's going to fight you.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between high, you know, good series and bad series.
Yeah, I would also like continuity with some stuff where, you know, those moments with like flashbacks and stuff like that, or just that moment where it's like, clearly this is you're making this take like longer, though it should still, you know, as they say, only take like X amount. Well, we'd end up talking about it, but one of the most recent episodes of Battle Game, the long-haired dude, that his ability is be invincible for 2 seconds. Yeah, literally, like, he turns into that, and then he talks, and then when he starts to run, then it, like, kicks off the 2-second marker, where it's like, no, this has already been, like, 20 seconds. Yeah. Like, come on.
Like, did they ever specify if he can just use his ability constantly, 2?
I think there's a cooldown period, but...
That's another thing you have to give... That not enough shows, I don't think, give enough, because it's a fine balance of enough details and too many details. Like Peach Boy Riverside does that. Granted, they're bouncing back and forth, but they give you just enough details in the previous episode to kind of fill in what's happening in next episode. But it doesn't work out because now you get lost in what's happening because we keep jump.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like older series were more thought out than a lot of newer series. Like, probably the better older series as an example is obviously Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Granted, bigger series, you know, they have a whole huge manga thing. But a lot of this stuff is thought out. And you see some of that stuff in the background. Like at the end of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, they talk about, oh yeah, we got the... keep yawning. They got the Shimbalans to help them put circles around the whole country. But that was like a 5-second scene. Like, how is this happening? And then they show the Shimbalans like freeze frame of them going around the country and how they talk to Scar in the past to help them. But they still filled that in. Like, it wasn't a random scene of, but it actually worked because of this. There was an actual scene where they're together and both parties figure it out.
Yeah, and like, I forget, Hohenheim, like, during his travels, like, setting up, like, the counter, like, there's still, like, stuff there that would, like, you're cutting to and slowly, like, building stuff for a good payoff that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because they even have the scene where he stabs himself to release some philosopher, like 20 episodes before you even find out why he did it. That's the whole thing about when you show something, there has to be a payoff. It's very rare for Fullmetal Alchemist to show something off and there not to be a payoff. Compared to, we say it because it's recent, but Battle Game in 5 seconds. Or, what was another recent show that kind of, I mean...
Detective Is Already Dead blew its load super early.
Oh, yeah.
I think the weird thing for that was, like...
It's too convenient.
It's too convenient, but even the way it's, like, was put together, where you had a cool first half of an episode, and then it got kind of wonky a little bit, but you're still kind of fine with it. And then at the very end, it's like, by the way, she is dead. And then you, like, cut to 3 years later, have a couple episodes of that, but then you still go back and, like, just have those two there anyways, and then the story's boring.
Well, if you
like, the payoff doesn't happen because you already know that she's going to die.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you can't build suspense if you already know what's going to happen. It's like M. Night Shyamalan movies. Like, sometimes you watch it, and the beginning of his career, amazing. It's like, oh, shit, that's a big twist. Middle of his career, a couple of years ago, you're like, oh, well, there's going to be a twist. Here's a twist. Now he's made the twist so elaborate that you're like, oh, shit, that's a huge twist. It wasn't what I thought it was.
Yeah. Like,
so you got to twist the twist.
The unbreakable, whatever, like, glass tie-in at the very end of that where, like, Bruce Willis, like, pops up and you're like, wait, this is the sequel to that?
Yeah.
Like, that thing where you're like, oh, fuck. Like, that being a big twist.
Yeah, because you got to, once you get, like, better and better, granted, some of the shows might be first-time directors or first-time producers, and it might not be as good. But for The Detective Is Already Dead, we know she's dead, but you got to build some suspense. Like, maybe
you add... It's literally in the title.
Yeah, maybe, because you already know he's going to survive, she's going to survive, but maybe you build some suspense of, I thought she died 3 years ago. She actually died to me in my heart 3 years ago because I stopped remembering her, but she died 2 years ago. That's something you got to do.
Yeah, or
it's a
even,
twist or
builds. Even just kind of having that moment where, like, you have a good whatever kind of episode, but, like, still keeping it fairly linear where you just directly have more time with those characters. Where a good example is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Like, it's established very quick. Like,
she's gonna die.
Yeah, that she's going to die. And then you spend a bunch of time with her, and the twist there is how she dies, because you expect it, like, one way, it happens a different way. But, like, The Detective Is Already Dead, like, the title is self-explanatory, because you know that. And I feel like the way they messed it up is by having, those, like, 3 episodes where it was in the future, or 4 episodes where it was, like, in the future, and then they went back, like, to when she was alive.
They should have just...
like, spent way more time building their relationship.
Yeah, they definitely should have built up the beginning of their relationship, like, 3 or 4 episodes, and then throw in key aspects of this character does this, and then it pops up later in the series of, oh, this is the same girl we helped before. That's kind of what they're doing now. Kind of an older, speaking of, like, Your Lie in April is a good thing of beginning of the series, you're wondering what the lie is. Because when I first watched Your Lie in April, I never knew what the lie was until the very end. Because a lot of people, if you watched it at the time, probably assumed the lie is, oh, she's not going to die, she'll live. She still dies, but the lie is, you know.
She set everything up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she loved him.
Yeah. Because it was, she said she loved Arima? Oh, no. It's, she loves whatever his friend was. But then at the end, it's like, oh, no, I love you instead.
Yeah.
Makes me sad right now just thinking about it. But even you get shows like, oh, God, why can't I think of it now? Oh, my God. With Menma. Not Menma. God, not that. Sorry, I'm thinking of Hina. Oh, why can't I think of the name? Oh, my God. It was such a good show.
The Day It Became a God.
Yeah, The Day It Became a God. That was another good show where, like, the animation could have been better. Maybe the plot could have been a little bit better, but it was still, you know, gives you a good payoff. It starts out with, feels slice of lifey. It just doesn't seem like there's a huge overarching thing. And your focus is all drawn on, he's got to say he loves her before he goes to college. And then it turns out, no, he loves her, but he wants to take care of, you know, Hina instead. But even like older shows, there's some bad older shows. I mean, Macross, I think, is a good example. I'm not a huge fan. I think it could have been done better. It's just too mediocre, I would say. There was another series when I first started watching, really deep dive into anime. It was on Netflix. It was called Gun X Sword. And it was a very weird, I mean, the animation was good. It was smooth out, polished. But the story was bad. It's like this bounty hunter type dude is taking care of this girl. And there's just too much convenient stuff in it. Like, if you're going to make your story very convenient for the character, you got to make it like Space Dandy. You've seen Space Dandy. And it's like, everything works out for him. That's because it's not a huge overarching story. It's a week-to-week thing that just conveniently works out. That's like American cartoons. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what happens in American Dad at the end of the, you know, come next week. Last week didn't happen. It's its own new story now.
Yeah, kind of like Family Guy when like Brian died, where they made it like all super serious and whatever. In the end, they fucking just brought him back anyways. So like, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
There's no punishment or there's no downside.
Yeah, there are shows that like really narratively like bring things together super well. I will admit though, it's difficult to do. Like to
it's not like
a bow on something that is just so like, yes, this is exactly what I needed, you know, where it should have ended, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay shows are written very well. And it's the same thing with like CGI in anime. You only notice bad CGI. Like, you go back and you watch Kill la Kill, a show you don't think has too much CGI in it. It has a lot of CGI in it. You just don't notice it. So when shows are very, very good, it takes a lot to write that. Like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, that was definitely a like super, super well done and extremely thought out thing. And that's why it worked out well. Because they did Fullmetal Alchemist, which is the original animated series, and you can tell when they went off the main story arc and they did their own thing, it didn't work out so well. You know, it just kind of felt like a cheap cop-out. They even did a movie on top of that, too. And now, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, super well-rounded, very good. People forget they also did a movie for it, too, called Secret Story of Milos or Milos. That movie was just terrible.
Yeah.
Mainly because they did it, you know, years and years later. The animation wasn't the same. You can get over the animation pretty well, but the story was just, it was kind of its own one-off kind of spin-off thing. It added literally nothing to the original story. It was just, hey, you know, here's Fullmetal Alchemist again.
Yeah, there are some shows that like have really just botched the ending that like it affects it in such like a strong way that
I guess what you're thinking of? The Promise Neverland?
That's one of them.
Bad endings is what we're talking about
like,
now.
that was basically a bad season, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the ending itself was like literally like, hey, look at all the stuff you didn't get to watch. Was like, you know, a big gut punch.
You like a slideshow at the end of your season of like, it was so bad. It literally ruined the series because the Blu-ray sold almost nothing, right?
Yeah,
they talk about how it sold less than 1,000 copies.
But the one that I was thinking of, Erased, like you've gone through, you've set up like all of this, and it's like, oh yeah, he does, the girl that he saved, like she gets with his friend while he's in a coma for 20 years, and like fuck you, I guess. And like some of that stuff where...
Now, was that a bad ending versus you didn't agree with it kind of ending?
That was literally like an anime only thing. The ending in the manga versus the ending in the anime like is different.
Yeah. Did they finish the Erased anime before the manga ended?
I don't believe so.
Because there's been, again, Fullmetal Alchemist is the most popular case of this, of, you know...
Like, I like Erased. Like, I think the story is really good.
They also did a live action, which was literally just a 1-to-1 of the show, which is how would be the only way that goes good.
So the anime went from January 8th, 2016 to March 5th. And then the manga went from June 2012 to November 2016. So they would have already been given, or you would hope that they would have been given, because there's only a couple months difference, the ending. And they just decided they weren't going to do that.
I wonder if it came down to, because usually it's not the problem of like the studio that draws it. It comes down to the producer or the director, which... I wonder what happened there. I'd have to look into it more, because I would imagine the director made that choice of, no, I like this ending better. We're doing it this way. And there's not much the producer can do. Because, like you said, that's a great anime. And the ending was just, it just kind of felt improv, or it just kind of threw it together.
I could be wrong, by the way, of how like things were.
Well, the anime would have been finished way before, because they would have been finishing the last couple episodes right when it started airing. Because it takes a long time, because they would have written out the whole storyboard and everything before they started. So I wonder if the author told them it's going to end this way, but then the author decided, no, I want it to end a different way. Because writing a manga, I don't know. I'm not a mangaka. So I imagine 6 months to write a book?
Yeah.
Probably even faster than that, I'd imagine. Like a chapter would be a month, right? I'd imagine chapter per month.
Yeah,
kind of be the schedule.
I think so.
Because Shonen Jump is like that, isn't it? It's like a new chapter every month. Because if you wrote a volume every 6 months, that'd take forever to write everything. Unless you're a Berserk fan, then fuck you. That's another thing. Speaking of bad CG, you get a really good series with a huge following of devoted fans, and everyone brings up some of the worst animation is Berserk 2017. I've seen some of it. And you know that scene, have you seen Gigak do a video where it looks like the character shaking back and forth as he's walking away? That's literally what they did. They're just like, okay, we're going to shake this character to make it look like he's walking away.
I could be wrong. It does seem like for Erased, the decision to have her like just kind of not actually fall in love with him might be the same.
Oh, might it be?
Yeah, well, which even for the anime or the manga, because the anime would have finished before the last final chapter of the manga. Like, that's still really dumb.
Well, that's the thing you have to distinguish too between like, was the ending bad or did I not like it? Like Attack on Titan, many people
felt like
hated.
It didn't make sense because he spent literally the entire show like saving her. They develop like a bond. They like kiss at one point and are like,
but it's been
dating.
20 years though.
Yes.
You're going to fall in love with somebody you kissed 20 years ago?
Someone who saved your life and like...
Hey man, sounds like to me you want Stockholm Syndrome.
No. I felt I feel like
Well, the thing is,
the entire like total payoff.
When you got to think about it, like if it's a 20-year gap, because like I said, you got to think the difference.
Let me rephrase it this way, because we're watching Tokyo Revengers. Imagine if at the end of all of this, he goes back, Hina's alive, and they never talk to each other again. Would you be happy?
What? I'd be like, man, it's kind of a waste. To be fair, it's not the same because you only see her a few times. She's really an insignificant character. Now, it'd be interesting if at the end of this, Takemichi gets with Mikey.
No. Like,
well, no, you got to
There's similar, like, aspects,
It's been 20 years. This could be a debate. This could be an anime fight.
I forget, like, how far back he goes. I don't think
it's a decent jump, because when does he fall into a coma? He falls into a coma as a kid, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he was drowned.
He's in elementary school. He can't be older than 8. He's probably like, what, 6 or 7? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he's like 10. But he's definitely an adult. Like
15 years in a coma.
15 years. That's a long, long time. People get remarried in less time than that.
Yeah. I just think to a certain degree.
I don't think it was a bad ending. Bullshit. I just think a lot of people didn't like it. Because it's the same thing with Attack on Titan.
I didn't like it because of the way they like created the character development between those two. And then immediately, like, at the end, it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but would you remember it the same? It's like, oh, look, he's out of a coma. I love you. Like, that'd be kind of weird that someone's... I mean, it's the thing of... It's not really a bad ending. It's just people didn't like it. It's not the same as, I can't think of the name of it. What do you call it? The one by the guy that does Konosuba that we just watched.
Combatants.
Like, that was a show that started strong, and then it was actually just shit the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing worked.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing of, not every good creator can be good at everything. Because Konosuba is great. He just literally remade Konosuba with slightly different character tropes, but you got to fix the character tropes for what you've changed.
Yeah.
Konosuba's works because it's pretty pre-established.
I just think, like, again, the amount of effort that he went through to, like, save her, because, I mean, it's literally, like, a couple loops. Like, at one point, he sees her die physically and, like, get sent back again. Because
I just think
she's, like, beaten thrown in the back of the shed and freezes to death.
She was in the back. She was in the front of the shed.
Whatever.
That was such an adorable shed. That was so adorable, though, just watching
her be beaten.
No, I mean him saving her.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, it's a kid helping another kid. Why?
Yeah, it's just
it's adorable watching her get beat.
The amount of effort for like kind of no payoff for him.
Yeah.
At the end, like it seems weird, like the drive that he would have to save.
The thing
like,
is, to us, it's like, it's like a 20-minute difference of, she should have waited. But if it's 15-year difference, and you got to think, like,
I mean, it's a similar thing with Takemichi. It's a 12-year difference, and he's going back to save Hina because he loves her, and they only dated for like 3 months originally.
But the thing is, like, he learns she dies. Now he has a chance to save her. It's different because he's going back and forth very quick.
She's already dead in the original timeline too. Yeah, she would have died as a kid then.
But they've established in this that he's going back and he's refining his love for her because he has a chance to change his life. Compared to Erased, there's a set 15-year coma difference. It's not like she's
at the very end.
It's not like she's coming back to get back with him. He's reestablishing that he loves her, and they already show that they do kind of like each other, even in the future again.
Yeah, she's just married and has a kid, and it doesn't matter anyways. And fuck him, right? Like,
talking about her?
No, because like even when she's at the hospital, she like.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about Tokyo Revengers. Like,
no,
he's not married. It's different because it's a 15-year coma of nothing versus Takemichi's going back in time and has a second chance to re-fall in love.
A 15-year coma of nothing at the end, though.
Yeah, I'm I'm just saying,
compared to like.
But you're upset that she still doesn't. You're upset that she didn't madly fall in love with him at the end.
I don't think like madly fall in love. I just think the total amount of payoff for the amount of like effort that
I hope Tokyo Revengers ends like shit now.
To just like wake up and be like, you fucked my friend, huh? And it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I was saying your original argument was like, oh, she doesn't get with him. It's like, that kind of sucks. It's like, well, it's a 15-year difference, so.
Yeah, some people do wait 15 years, though.
Those people are fucking crazy. You should get away from them. What do you remember from 15 years ago?
What do I remember from 15 years ago? 15 years ago would have been like
2006.
2006. Super poor, wasn't talking to my mom. My dad was working.
Do you remember who you loved?
Yes.
Was it some girl on the playground that you saved her life?
I didn't.
Maybe someone saved your life. How do you know?
There was a chick that I really liked. She threw a hammer at me. You've met her before.
Have I?
Yeah. No.
Oh. What's Bill Gates?
No.
Monica Lewinsky?
You know Nick, the military, like the one BB conscripted sister.
I'd have to see a picture. I'm so bad
has
with
an
names.
older sister.
That doesn't help.
Yes, it does.
No, has an older sister. We'll get back to anime. We're not going to stay on this. We'll keep going. There's not much else I hate anime. It's just the whole showing me something and having zero payoff or wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like combatants, we picked it for the show so we can waste our time so you don't have to waste yours.
Mm-hmm.
What like the big thing for me is would I consider this on Blu-ray? So I'm not going to buy a shitty show on Blu-ray unless it's like a comedy thing. Like I can look on the shelf right now and see like Akira, Your Lie in April, MMO Junkie, Black Lagoon. Like those are all shows or movies that did very, very good. Like Black Lagoon is kind of a new thing week to week with a small overarching thing. I mean, I'm not going to hate on a show like, yo, they didn't count bullets. It's like, it's anime. There's some things you got to give in to like the anime tropey things, but they definitely could work on it.
Yeah, it's not
I think anime,
like the real life thing where you fuck it up where you're like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like the Matrix when he's shooting scorpions and you see 5.56 rounds dropping and you're like, come on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, like, I feel like anime now has gotten better than what it was. There's still some shows that do stand out that are bad, but all in all, I think it's gotten better. Because you remember like early teens, like, or mid 2000s animes that we'd watch, like The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, I think was a good transition of there's some perverted stuff or some sexual stuff in there, but it's not as in your face as like kind of earlier anime 2000s. Now there's some shows now, but they're specifically made to be perverted. It's not like a serious show and then boom, we're going to throw in nudity and then we go back. No, now it's a little more tamed. I think it's a little more streamlined for regular people to watch. Like people that traditionally never really had anime are now picking it up pretty heavily. Like Netflix has shows you never saw before. Or they're producing their own stuff now. Or even Disney hired, what was it? 7 studios?
I don't remember.
It was like 7 or 8 studios to produce some anime for them. So I mean, anime is getting better. It's more streamlined. Like you see people out in public now that wear more anime-centric merch, or people that have seen anime that you would have never thought saw anime before. So it's kind of cool to see that, because you remember like back in middle school, you start talking about anime, unless it's like Naruto or Dragon Ball. It's like, oh, you're like really into that nerd shit.
Yeah. All right. We should probably
end it here.
Yeah. I don't want to bitch too much.
Yeah. That's the whole point of this episode.
Yeah.
Yo, Code Geass is trash.
Yeah, whatever. So is Attack on Titan.
I mean, I'll admit that. As long as you don't talk trash about my favorite anime ever.
Gundam is trash.
Wow, fucking fighting words.
Yeah.
I'm going to edit it out so you say Gundam is great.
Whatever. Prove it.
Prove it? How many movies do you have in Code Geass?
In the
just
just because like they've made a bunch of Gundam movies doesn't make it like good.
More money, more shows.
Yeah. There's fucking 8 Saw movies. Does that make it the best series ever?
No, because Harry Potter's got 9.
Yeah. Does it make it
Star Wars
good series?
Star Wars has got like 12.
Yeah. Does it make those good though?
Star Wars is good.
All of Star Wars is good?
All of Star Wars is good. Sorry, they just don't like some of them.
This man likes a Christmas special.
Dude, as soon as I hear Mariah Carey, all I want for Christmas is I'm out. All right, that's it for us.
All right.
Look out in October. Once we move, so that first Thursday in October, or the first, whenever we're going to put the video out, that first one will probably be the announcement for the other stuff we're going to create. Because once we move into that new place, we'll spend about a week and a half setting everything up, and then you'll see more videos.
Yeah.
Like the manga reviews. I'm pretty close to finishing a couple. Mm-hmm. Justus is pretty close to having 50 of them written. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, toads my goats.
Totally doing that.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.